we're going to work on 4 aspects of you. There's a model that I've been working with. It's called the practical you, the potential you, the productive you, and the personal you. These 4 parts of you, because that's who you bring into the room. You bring all of you into the room. And we want to look in the next 90 days, what shifts do we want to make in those 4 parts of you? So there's this part of you called the very practical you. The practical you has to do with your health and your nutrition, your wellness, your lifestyle. It's all the stuff that's very practical. I need a new car. I need to get new clothes. I need to take better care of myself. I need to lose some weight. I need to brush my teeth. I need to floss more. All that stuff. That's all the practical things that are you're working with on yourself. So there's this part of you that we're going to explore, and we're going to find one area that you could develop in and improve upon in that area. And then we'll work in the potential you. The potential you is your self-development, your self-expression, your creativity. What are you doing to develop yourself, your fullest potential? It's very similar to skill development, but both on a personal level and on a business level in the potential part of you. And then there's the productive you. That's your business, your leads, your appointments, your contracts, your closings, your referrals, your repeat business. It's how productive are you? Building your team, creating profit, creating cash flow, creating structure and systems. How productive are you? And at the same time, your money. So how much are you accumulating? What type of security are you creating for you and for the people around you? What's your relationship with money? How much are you banking? What's going on with you in that productive part of your life? And then the 4th part is the personal you, which is more all about your capacity to be in relationship, both with socially and with family, friends, your intimate relationships, more your personal connection to people. So when you're looking into your future, instead of what we did last time was we said personal, skills, tech, and team. This time we're going to work on the practical part of you, come up with a really good thought about what we'd like to manifest in the next 90 days in that area, what we want to manifest in the potential part of your life, and the productive part of your life, and in the personal part of your life. So we're going to work on those 4 things. So you're going to be making decisions today. And this is probably how we get our greatest growth is that we make decisions. We cut off all of our other options. We decide this is what I'm going to get done in the next 90 days. And I started thinking about what is it that holds us back from being a bigger version of ourselves. It's avoiding making decisions. It's not stepping into it. And so I thought about this as a thought process, and I'd love you to write this down. Just make room in your notepad there. I'm going to give you what I've noticed is how we avoid making decisions. And just notice today that you're going to be called to make a decision in 4 areas of your life. And notice how you may have been avoiding some of these decisions. So one of the things that we do is we fail to recognize the need to even make one. So one of the things you want to really open up today is, where do I recognize a decision needs to be made in one of these 4 areas? Number 2 is we resist the change. We see security in sameness. Boy, if I got this all set up right now, everything's going really well, I can deal with this the way it is, and there's where my security is, in the sameness. And so I'm going to avoid making a decision in that area. A 3rd way is we fail to adequately weigh the positive benefits of making a decision. We step back and we don't really look at all the good that will come if you make that choice. And so as you look in these 4 areas, you say, okay, what would be the benefit to that? Maybe I haven't really looked closely enough. I maybe have to examine what's the real good that will come from that decision. Or what we do to avoid decisions is we create distraction or chaos in our lives. One of the easiest ways to avoid making big decisions is get distracted. Create some chaos. Create something in your life that doesn't allow you to deal with the decision that needs to be made. Another thing that we do is we create conflict, like interpersonal conflict. We go inside and we challenge our belief system, and I'm in chaos. I just don't know how to deal with this, so we don't do anything. Or we get lost in the details. We don't make a decision unless we know exactly what's going to happen next. And if we don't have compulsive order to something, we don't do anything. We just stay in our sameness. Or we get lost in routine. You get the structure is put in place, all the rituals, all the habits. We have all this control, and to make a decision would be like throwing a bomb into that and it would all explode. Or we dump responsibility. We shift our locus of control. We say that's someone else's responsibility to make that decision, not my responsibility. Or we wait for permission. We become very passive in our steps. So I'll just wait to see what others think, and I'm going to take their lead as opposed to me make the decision. Or we hide in depression. We deny our locus of control. We can hide in that and say, it's just not the right time for me. I'm not really feeling up for it. I'm really in a bad place right now. And it's just a way to avoid making a decision. Or we escape into fantasy where we pretend we're not alive. It's like we pretend it's just a big game and it really doesn't make a difference, and you can fantasize about things so you don't have to decide. Or we wait for the perfect time. When the time is perfect, I'll make that decision. I'll get a new office, or I'll buy a Mac computer, or I'll start an exercise program, and I'll start to lose some weight, or I'm going to start to save money. And we deny our shortness on earth. We deny the fact that it could end at any moment right now, and we think it's unlimited amount of space and time we have here. Or we wait to be the perfect person, meaning I'm not going to do anything because if I do it, I wouldn't win at it. I wouldn't be good at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to start until I be really good at that. So we become obsessed with winning as opposed to making the decision. Or we just wait for more information. I just need more information. I'm just waiting for the right, piece of data to cross my life. And then when I get that right piece of information, I'm going to be able to do it. Or we deny, and I love this one, we deny our ability to handle the consequences. I'm looking at some choices in my life right now, and I'm looking at, but would I be able to handle the consequences? And I can see how I avoid making the decisions because on some level I don't think I could handle the consequences of that decision. So I make that up in my mind. It's only a story. Nothing's happening. I'm just making it up in my mind. So what I do is avoid making the decision. So when you look at those, can you find something that you've kind of attached to out of those 15 that might be an opportunity today just to look at when you're about to make a decision about what to do in the next 90 days, that this is how you kind of avoid it, and maybe there's something that you could shift in that area today. So if you could only pick one of those that seems to be your area of expertise, which one would it be? Like I would say, without a doubt, denying the ability to handle the consequences is the area that resonates most with me, and that's why I avoid making bigger decisions. So what would yours be? Why don't you tell the person next to you what you think it is? As soon as I spoke it, you went, that's mine. You know which one it is. Which one would it be? Fail to recognize the need to make one. Resist the change. Fail to adequately weigh the positive benefits. Create distraction. Create conflict. Get lost in details. Get lost in routine. Dump the responsibility. Wait for permission. Let me see a show of hands. How many of you can isolate a client in your mind right now and see how they're avoiding it by one of these 15? Let me see a show of hands on that. And it's a good way to preempt when you're asking people to make a decision is ask them how they avoid making decisions before you ask them to make a decision. It helps them process. Like I'm going to ask you to do is make some decisions. Just notice how you avoid making decisions. And as soon as the insight is aware, so you go, oh, that's what I do. And then when the decision comes up, you know what you're really doing is avoiding it because of one of these 15 reasons. So just notice that. And just notice it today because you're going to be called to make some decisions. You're going to be called to make 4 decisions. And they may be decisions you've been avoiding. It depends how big do you want to play today. How big of a decision do you want to make? How big of a stance do you want to take in the next 90 days in these 4 areas of your life? How big do you want to play? Yeah, well, let's start with what have you been avoiding in these 4 areas. Let's really look at that closely as we go through our questioning sequence. Say, what are the things that as I look back in my life and go, gee, it's just time to deal with this now. And I've been avoiding it for one of these reasons, and I may have to deal with that reason, in this next 90 days, so I can set myself free to make bigger choices, live bigger, live into a higher version of myself. So when I die, people show up at my funeral and say, the guy lived big, didn't avoid decisions, or he didn't do any of this. So if you had to pick one, which one would it be? Go ahead, just tell everybody at your table. Go around the table. Each person goes around the table and tells everybody at the table if they had to pick one, which one would it be? If they could only pick one. Okay, person at the longest hair goes first, and then go clockwise from there. Real quick, you know what it is. Go. So the list may serve as a tool that when you're deciding and you get stuck, you get stuck in what to do next. Instead of wrestling with what to do next, pick the list of the 15 out and ask yourself what's getting you stuck. Get above the issue and get into what's causing the stuckness, and then deal with it at that level, and it will release faster there because you get to a deeper truth, a bigger insight. Oh, here I am again, afraid of the consequences of making this decision. So it's not really the decision, it's how I'm showing up in this decision that I'm afraid of not trusting myself, not thinking I'm capable, not thinking I have the skills, not thinking I have all that stuff, which is where I would get stuck. So I'm encouraged to tell you that as you look through this and you only have so much time, I need to decide, I need to decide, I need to decide. As soon as you get stuck, it's how fast can you get unstuck? How many of you have been stuck on a decision for years and you just wish you could get unstuck? So you can move forward. And the difference between each one of us is really we just made different decisions in our life. That's all. I've made different decisions. You made different decisions. And all my life is the sum total of all the decisions I've made. I'm right here right now. And my future is all the decisions I'm going to make. And if I want to make really big gains in my life, I got to make really big decisions. And the bigger the decision is, the more I want to avoid it. Why? Well, for one of those 15 reasons. And so if I can get at it from that angle, I can move faster into a future that defines a different version of who I've been in the past.